1. Last one is complete the square, rational only. So we are going to complete the square, and then we're going to solve for the values of x. So let's see, where's my annotate button? There it is. We don't have to move anything over to the right side just because it's already there. There's no number added or subtracted over here. So that part's good so far. Now we can figure out what we want to add to both sides. Remember, we want to add b over 2 squared. And so what is our b value? Our b value is 10. And then what is 10 divided by 2? That is 5. And what is 5 squared? That is 25. So what are we adding to both sides? 25. And let's do that. Plus 25 plus 25. Remember, if I add it to one side, I must also add it to the other. So therefore, I get x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to negative 9 plus 25. Let's rewrite it over here where I have more space. And what is negative 9 plus 25? I believe that is 16. So we have x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to 16. Let's rewrite this piece as x plus b over 2 squared is equal to 16. So what is our b value? Remember, our b value is 10. So this is x plus 10 divided by 2. So this is x plus 5 squared. Okay, before I continue, are there any questions up until here? All right, so like I said, we have completed the square. Now we are going to solve for x. So we're going to solve for x by square rooting everything. I'm going to square root both sides. It's kind of like the first category now. The first category that we did, the first video that we did. So when you square root, the square cancels out with that. You just get x plus 5 equals positive or negative the square root of 16. And the square root of 16 happens to be 4. So x plus 5 equals positive or negative 4. Remember, this means you have two answers. Your first answer is x plus 5 equals 4, and we're going to solve for x. Then your other solution gives you x plus 5 equals the negative 4. Remember, that's what this symbol plus or minus means. So when x plus 5 equals plus or minus 4, you have x plus 5 equals 4, x plus 5 equals negative 4. Two solutions. Let's solve for one of them. Minus 5, x equals negative 1. Here's one of your solutions. Let's look for the other. Minus 5, x equals negative 9. So here are our two solutions, negative 1 and negative 9. Yeah, are there any questions? All right, so let me remind you that if you want to put a second answer, use that button. So I'm going to press plus, and I'm going to type negative 1 and negative 9. Remember, you can put the negative 9 first. It really doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter. Let's clear all drawings. Yes, it's doing that thing to us again. So you can see it says 1 out of 5, which means we got it correct, okay? Let's do another one. Okay, so for this time, we do have to bring the 16 over, so I'm going to add, oops, I want to do that in black. I'm going to add 16, x squared minus 6x cancels out, equals 16. Okay, and we have to figure out what do we add to both sides. So remember, our b value is the minus 6, or you could just look at it over here. Our b is negative 6, and the thing that we add to both sides is b over 2 squared. So negative 6 over 2 squared. So this is negative 3 squared, which is 9. So we are going to add 9 to both sides. Let's do that. X squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 16 plus 9. So we add 9 to both sides. Let's rewrite it. 16 plus 9 is 25. And then any questions up till here? Okay, so we are going to rewrite this piece as x plus b over 2 squared. And so what is our b over 2? Let's figure that out. X plus, our b is negative 6. Remember that? So that means we have negative 6 divided by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So we have x plus negative 3. But remember, when you are adding a negative, you can write x minus 3. It's good enough. So x minus 3 squared is equal to 25. So now we can solve for x. And how do we do that? Remember, think back to your first category. We need to square root both sides to get rid of the squared. So we have x minus 3 is equal to positive or negative, plus or minus, square root of 25, which is 5. So x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus 5. Remember, that means there are two solutions. You have x minus 3 equals 5, and then you have another one, x minus 3 equals negative 5. So there's two solutions. Don't forget, two solutions, the plus and minus. Let's solve for the first one. X equals 8. Let's solve for the second one. X equals negative 2. So we have two solutions, 8 and negative 2. So I'm going to make two boxes. I have 8 and I have negative 2. Now before I go submit them, are there any questions? So clear the screen, submit answer. And it's not loading again, so let me refresh it. Notice now it says 2 out of 5, which means we did get it correct. Well, let's take a look at this one. Okay, so for this one, we want to bring the 80 to the other side, and we want to bring the 18x actually to be with the x squared. So notice how the x's are actually separated. We don't like that. So we're going to bring over the 18x and move the 80 also. Well, let's move the 18x first. Why not? So I will get x squared minus 18x plus 80 equals 0. So what I just did was I moved the 18x to be with the x squared, because remember, you want them to be together. So I have x squared minus 18x plus 80 equals 0. And also, by the way, I am moving it from here to that side because you want to have the x squared still be positive. I don't want to bring the x squared to that side because then x squared will be negative, okay? So make sure you're moving the 18x, not the x squared. So now that I have positive x squared minus 18x plus 80 equals 0, let's move the 80 over by subtracting 80. I'll just write it over here, minus 80 minus 80. So that answer will be over here. These will cancel out. X squared minus 18x equals negative 80. Okay, so now look at our b value, this negative 18. And then what do we add to both sides? Remember the formula, b over 2 squared. So negative 18 over 2 squared. So negative 9 squared. So 81. We are adding 81 to both sides. So plus 81 plus 81 on both sides. So here we get x squared minus 18x plus 81 is equal to negative 80 plus 81 is just 1. All right, let's rewrite this part as x plus b over 2 squared. So x plus, what is our b value? Remember, our b value is negative 18. So if it's negative 18 divided by 2, b over 2, is negative 9. So remember, when we have x plus negative 9, that's the same thing as x minus 9. So we have x minus 9 squared is equal to 1. we are going to square root everything. So square root both sides. That cancels out. We get x minus 9 equals plus or minus. And what is the square root of 1? It's just 1. So x minus 9 is equal to plus or minus 1. Remember, that means there are two solutions. Your first one is x minus 9 equals 1. Your second comes from x minus 9 equals negative 1. Remember, two solutions. The plus or minus means two solutions. Let's solve for the first one. Those cancel. You get x is equal to 10. Solving for the second one, those cancel, and you get 8. So your two solutions are 10 and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. It doesn't matter what order you put them in, so I'm going to put 8 first and then 10. You could put 10 first and then 8. It really doesn't matter. And I'm going to pause the recording to see if you guys have any questions. And let's clear all of these annotations, and let's submit the answer. All right, well, let's refresh it and watch that turn to 3/5. Okay, 3/5, which means we got it right. And that's all for this video.